Hello and welcome to the Build Better Homes podcast. I am your host, Royal Mortier, and my trusty left-hand sidekick. Are you left-handed? I don't know.
I'm right-handed, but that's okay.
You're right-handed.
Kelly's on the right. I'm on the left.
Yeah, the wife's always the right hand.
That's right.
So, but with me in the studio today is my trusty left hand, John O'Shea. And how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I got the last day of sun for about a week here in Oregon. So we've enjoyed a beautiful week here. And it's just been absolutely gorgeous. The kids have been outside. They got their sandbox out. We got some stuff, cleared out around the house. And, honeydew's done. And so it's just been a really gorgeous. So we always get about a week teaser. You might remember that from when you lived in the Northwest. There's always this like lull before the rains hit. And it's warmer here, and it sprinkles and it rains for 3 months now before July. But we get this little teaser, and it's fantastic. Myself outside after.
There you go. The fall springs, second winter type situation. It's been odd. I mean, I was in Miami earlier this week for a forensic investigation, and when I left home, I'm in the Panhandle of Florida. Gorgeous, sunny. I mean, it was early morning, but it was still, the whole forecast was gorgeous, sunny. And then I get to Miami, and the rain was coming down so hard, you could barely make out the terminal from the airplane. You could barely make out the terminal from the runway. Like, it was that hard downpouring. And then it was just off and on all day. And I had to do an exterior forensic investigation, and a bus collided with a hotel right there in the Brickell district.
And took off, right? Kept going?
I got to see the security footage, and I mean, I don't even know. I don't think he even hit his brakes. He hit it, and I mean, he hit it hard, enough to fracture a massive concrete beam. That's how hard. And the windshield of the bus came into the cab, and he just kept going right onto the highway. Just kept going. And
did he have passengers? Do we ever figure out what happened post?
I have no idea if he had passengers or not. But still, the fact that a charter bus driver, and it was big, fancy charter bus, and hit a building and just kept going. Like, nope, we're good. I was amazed by that, as was the hotel management and everybody else I spoke with. I mean, they had their security cameras. They had tons of footage from people just outside on their phones. And I shared some of that footage with you. Yeah. Pretty hilarious, people's interactions and comments on it. But I didn't know until I got there that they were like, oh, yeah, no, he got on the highway. He kept on driving. He drove all the way to their station lot or whatever. The owner or manager for the place had no idea it had happened. I was just like, wow.
Oh, and it was a private. It wasn't like a city bus.
No.
Right. Gotcha. That's probably why he kept going.
Right. So, I mean, the manager goes out, the windshield's just inside the cab of the bus. Like, it was, I mean, did a number on it. So we've had some interesting weather, but overall been very nice here. But I did hope to get some content filmed while I was in Miami on some really cool projects. First off, our forensic investigation, and secondly, some really cool construction and engineering that's going on down there. Unfortunately, the weather really hindered that. But we're down there on the regular. We're going to be doing a lot more traveling for content. We've got some more builders on board that are doing some cool stuff. So I'm really excited to see those things starting to come together with our social media to really share some cool things in the building industry and just with construction and engineering in general with our viewers and listeners.
Yeah, I mean, talking from the most humble place and not a self-promotion place for PLIRIS, but I mean, I think we were talking and there was 23 projects in the last month that have come from some of the social media interactions and our IBS trip and all of that, which is a huge win for us. So
exclusively, and I'll narrow that down, exclusively ICF projects. So insulated concrete forms. We talked about it on here. We met with some ICF vendors and designers at the Builders Show, and
a lot of them.
And the biggest thing is we found is that it's like a new thing, but it's not a new thing.
60 years old.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I worked on my first ICF project almost 30 years ago. And, that was when I don't even know if they had, Box Blocks was the main company on the block. They, no pun intended. I don't even know if they actually had corner blocks at the time. There weren't variable sizes. It was just, that's what it was. And so to see us 30 years later, these additional manufacturers come into play, where you're seeing much more volume. You're seeing insurance companies realize how much more resilient ICF is. So it's been really cool to go from, I think last year we did 2 or 3 ICF projects total, and really just because we weren't even looking for them. They were just, I had prior contacts from my prior firm that reached out to us and said, hey, can you help with this? And we helped out. And I just didn't know that the engineering community hadn't really stepped up to assist these ICF designers. And it's been a great opportunity for us and for our designers and for the clients, because we've been able to take these projects out of our norm. That, our norm has been wood construction. I mean, we did over 2,000 doors last year, and to then go and jump into this ICF, really feet running, and pick up a lot of projects in multiple different parts of the nation. And, now we're getting licensed in Massachusetts. I just met with a guy today in Pennsylvania and Delaware. We've got one going we got one we just wrapped up in New York. We got one we're consulting on in New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's not just Florida. And then supplemental to that, there's ICF adjacent type products that are out there that we're talking with. That there's a company called EnviroCast. We've got the Herky Wall from Nudura that we're talking with people. We've got the light deck systems that are coming about. So concrete, residential, ICF type floor systems, all these different systems kind of coming about. So it's really cool to see the growth in the industry, and we're here to serve. So
I mean, I think we do all the quoting together for PLIRIS, and I think there's probably a dozen projects in the quote hopper and maybe a half a dozen already into production, and that's just in the last couple months. It feels like there's a lot going on. So we've seen a massive uptick, and that that's again in addition to our builders, which our builders that we serve have all seen a massive increase, and the overall consumer sentiment in the residential industry has been positive. Regardless of what's going on overseas, regardless of what interest rates may be doing, we're seeing a positive economic sentiment, and that really drives a lot. If people are just overall in a negative mindset about what's going on, that's going to affect the market more, regardless of what the numbers are doing, than if people are just positive of, hey, there's maybe these things going on, but the fact is we can persevere through this, and things need to continue to move forward. So so cool. I think that's a perfect kind of segue into what we wanted to talk about today, which is pretty exciting for us, which is our relaunch, our re-grand opening, if you will, of PLIRIS Plans.
Right. Yeah. So just so people understand the structure of our companies. So, and you can go onto plirisco.com and see this. And I apologize. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. Today is kind of I don't want to call it a self-promotion, but we're giving people backstory. We're going to be providing backstory into what created PLIRIS, or why PLIRIS was created, and what we've done to try and better serve the industry and solve problems that existed, that whether the general public understood they existed, they did exist in the home building industry. And we're trying to do this through a very service-oriented mindset and finding ways to solve problems proactively. So in one of those items is PLIRIS Plans. So if you go on plirisco.com, you'll see we have what our main service is, which is our direct service to builders. And with our direct service to builders, we manage house plans for them, meaning they either have already an in-house library of plans, or we use our partners, which are other home designers, and their library of plans, and bring those to the builder and say, hey, you guys are wanting to add plans to your library, you're wanting to do this development, and you have this criteria of your development. We already have these partnerships and we have these access to these plans that you're able to then get these plans into your lineup much more cost effectively. And we can do, and then from there, we can architecturally modify them. We can do the engineering. We can do everything that's needed to then get them to being a formidable plan set. The third option is we do actually have designers on staff, and we have and can and have designed new plans from scratch. And that's the more not cost effective, more time, lots of what they call charrettes, where we're going back and forth significantly to develop a new plan from the start. And really, we like to, there's only so many ways you can configure a square or a rectangle with, 4 rooms and 3 bathrooms and a living room and a kitchen. And there's only so many ways you can configure those things. And so we don't like to try and reinvent the box that's already been invented. So we really like to tap into our prior designers. Now, as a history of PLIRIS originally started as a completion services company. So what that means is PLIRIS is actually Greek for complete. And PLIRIS Plans was basically how we started, which was our goal was to complete the plans for other home designers and other house plan websites. And the reason being is many people don't understand this, but when you go online and you look at a set of house plans, those house plans likely are not to code for where you are going to be building, and they aren't engineered for where you're going to be building.
It's a basic set of drawings on a flat lot with the basic necessities that you need in order to get started with building a house, not the structural components that you need and not the jurisdictional and site specific components that you need. So go ahead.
Exactly. So a lot of these designers have, and some of these larger websites have thousands of plans that you can choose from, but you have no idea when that house was originally designed, what code it was designed to, what energy code requirements existed at that time. If it may have been engineered, and there is engineering cited, it's likely not the same as what you're building to. So all of those things have to be considered. And so when we started PLIRIS Plans, if you look on we also have, in addition to plirisco.com, we have plirisplans.com. We started partnering with home designers to market their plans as 100% complete, which means the designer was still getting their licensing fee, essentially. So the designers, they're selling the plans, right? That's the product. They're selling the plan. That plan has a license associated with it that allows you, the purchaser, to use those plans to build your home. Well, we had agreements with these designers that we could grant that single-use license, and then they were giving us the CAD files, which you typically have to pay extra for, but they were giving those to us at no extra cost to the end client. So then we were the ones that brought the plans up to the code that the jurisdiction was enforcing. And then we could also do the structural engineering. And then in addition to that, we offered additional services of site plans, landscape plans, erosion control, mechanical, electrical, plumbing designs, MEP, the things that the jurisdiction required to basically get you through permits. Anything that we could do remotely, not having to come to the job site, we were trying to provide. And that is originally what started PLIRIS Plans. And then, we had design partners for PLIRIS Plans, and we had builder partners for PLIRIS Co. And that's been the bulk of the backbone of our industry for our company so far. Now we are launching what is PLIRIS Forensics, which we'll talk about that on a totally different show, or we'll have some of our experts come on and interview. But PLIRIS Plans had some shortfalls. And one of the biggest shortfalls was that we were marketing the plans as complete, right? And there are some people that are looking just to get the plans to stew over, right? And so they'll come online and they'll buy those plans, and they'll just kind of stew over them and maybe mark them up, edit them, or use a local person to modify them. Who knows what they're using them for? Or there's jurisdictions that are super lax. That's the easiest way I can put it. We've worked with some states in the Midwest that we don't even bother getting licensed in, because the fact is the jurisdictions don't care. You come in, you build it, great. If it collapses, that's your fault. Like that's all basically their stance. We had one one state and jurisdiction we were working in that the builder was like, I only need architectural. I don't need any engineering. And we're like, okay. And so we provided the architectural, and the plans examiner, we get a plan review letter, and the plans examiner wanted us to clarify how the gutter and downspout was getting routed to the street. And we're like, well, there's no curb and gutter at the street. So the gutter and downspout is coming down and it's just getting routed out into the yard. There's no storm sewer, or there's no sanitary sewer or area. There's no curb and gutter to route it to. And they were just like, we have to show it on the plans that you're routing the downspout all the way to the street. Okay, well, what about the engineering? They're like, we don't care about the engineering. We have to show that the downspout is routed to the street. I mean, that was it. He just had to get that box checked on his checklist. Didn't care about the engineering. Didn't care what the header sizes were. Didn't care what the foundation sizes were. They just get worried. Hey, downspout has to go to the street. That's my box to check. That's what it is. And that is a situation. So there is a lot of plans that are sold that just don't require that. So the history of PLIRIS and going back, where I came up with the idea of PLIRIS Plans was at my last firm. We were a third-party building department for multiple jurisdictions. I think at the time I was there, we were a building department for over 60 jurisdictions. And it was a weekly thing that we would get somebody that had bought a set of plans online and was trying to submit them for permits. They just didn't know, right? And so then the discussion has to be of, hey, these plans aren't to code. You're missing all these things. They're not engineered. You now have to go meet with somebody to get these to completion. And that's a difficult conversation to have with some people, because all they saw was, I spent $1,000 on a set of house plans. Why can't I build the house? Mm-hmm. Not knowing that it's lacking all of this information. And so then you have to have this conversation with them of, well, it's going to cost you $4,000 or $5,000 to get them brought up to code, to get them engineered, to do everything that you have to comply with your site design criteria requirements and jurisdictional requirements. So again, we were making it on PLIRIS Plans very easy for the client, because we just provided one flat fee. You click the button, you pay that one flat fee, we take care of everything for you. So again, what we thought was a simplicity thing really actually cut us out of what was, oddly enough, is a pretty significant amount of the market that just is coming online and buying a set of PDF plans or one set of plans for almost their exploratory reasoning. So as we are revamping this, and the other thing is for designers, if you're listening to this, with our complete plan package, we were paying the designers 100% of what their single-use license fee was. 100%. So they set their license fee, whether it was on their website or whatever, or if they had their own website, or they just got to set their license fee, and we paid them 100% of that because we were doing the extra work. We were doing the completion services. And a typical house plan website that partners with other designers pays typically around 35, sometimes up to 45% of that. So if they have a royalty fee, or if they have a license fee of $1,000, that's what the PDF or single-use license is being sold for. The original designer is only getting 35 to 45% of that. Now, we were paying 100 in the fact of, hey, now these designers are getting more money because the plans are selling as, they're getting their 100% royalty. We want to pay them for their artwork as we were coding it. And we're getting this extra work. The analogy I give is that, you pay the artist, right? You buy a piece of artwork. Well, now that artwork has to get delivered. It's got to get hung on your wall. You got to get lighting installed. We were basically the company that took care of everything else. The original artist needs to get their money. It was their idea. It was their concept. They did the work to create the art. We're just doing everything else. And so that was the step. But again, we missed out on a lot of opportunities. So we're revamping how we're doing this. So now on PLIRIS Plans, and what will be our new website that will be coming out in the next week or so, there's going to be two options. One, you can still buy the complete plans. You select the plans, you purchase them, we take care of everything else. That's it. That's the PLIRIS package, complete package, right? We take care of everything the jurisdiction requires. We charge you one flat fee and you're done. The other option, and the original designer gets the 100% of their single-use license fee. Okay. The other option is you can buy just the PDF plan set and get the single-use license. And it will be the equivalent price of what the designer has it on their website, whatever. If you guys go that route, again, whatever. But the designer still gets a significant percentage of that licensing fee. It's not 100% because, right, we're doing the marketing, we're handling the transaction, we're handling all that work. But it's still a significant percentage, more than what other websites are paying. Because if you come back to us down the road and say, hey, I bought these set of plans from you, I would now like them completed for my build. That designer now gets 100% of that original licensing fee. So it's a tiered royalty system that goes in a situation where they get a significant percentage if all you buy is the plans. But if you come back to us and we do all the engineering and all the work, they get 100%. So it's a good option for them.
That was a great holistic explanation of what's happening with the new PLIRIS plan system. So a couple of things that come to my mind is, the advantage of going through us, even if you buy the PDF set and the designer getting their fair share, or whether we provide a complete set. If you're going to need a site, you're going to need a place to build the house so that we know what site specifics to put into that plan for you. But the advantage of going with us would be that you purchase the plan through us, and we at any time can shift and get you your site specific criteria and engineering. Even if you buy the PDF and you come back to us, we're going to be able to provide that engineering. So one of the reason why I say this is because if you go to the plan designer and buy it there, then you're going to have to engage us initially. We wouldn't have any contact. It would be in our CRM. Would know who you were. You'd be coming in cold. And so there's benefits to buying it from us in the first place. However, we can do it either way. But if you come through us, it seems like that would be a benefit because the whole ethos of PLIRIS is complete or vertically integrated. The problem in the industry that we were solving that Royal alluded to is in a couple of different ways. It traditionally has been you go out and find a piece of land, and then a designer or architect comes in and they go walk your piece of property and they design you a custom piece of architecture for that property. And then they say, okay, that'll be X dollars. And then they say, but you need to go find out your site criteria, or we can help with that. That'll be extra. Then you also need to go find an engineer. That'll be extra. Then you also need to figure out what type of things you're going to put into your house, whether you need those MEPs, and you also have to do a site plan. That's going to be extra, right. And so the segmented 5 to 6 different tentacles you needed to put out there in order to pull a permit plan set together was the vertical integration and the problem that was solved with Royal's PLIRIS and now my participation in the company. So I'm saying that's kind of that's pulling it all together. That's the problem, was that you may have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get in line, just to get in line with an engineer. To get a proposal might be another 2 or 3 weeks. To get to do all these 5 or 6 different things that are floating around, you're having to coordinate that as a PM or pay an architect to do that. And so, we've pulled all that together and made an offering to make it simple, hence the complete PLIRIS name.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to mention that is the vertical integration, that a solution for the industry, whether you're a builder, a one-time client, an ICF client, even additions. We've been bidding additions lately, and that's been going really well. So there's a lot of benefits to engaging a program that's complete in nature. And we might not be the only solution out there, but we're one of the only ones in the game that's doing everything.
Right. So. Well, and to an advantage to the designers, and this is a big reason, some of these designers are small. Yeah. They may only have a sellable library of a couple plans, a half dozen plans or so. It is not advantageous for them, economically advantageous for them to go through and create their own sales website, their own house plan sales website. Nor is it advantageous for them to go and market on social media or any other avenues. They're to start their own podcast to discuss the designs that they do, right? To get that information out of there. We are going at a national scale, where not only can we market these smaller designers of a couple plans, a half dozen plans, whatever it is, we can also be partnering with some of these larger design companies that have specialized in home design. One in particular that is a big partner for us is Mascord, which Mascord has a couple thousand home designs that we're able to market them and market their stuff and just serve as a funnel. And the fact of the matter is when people have the ability to go into our house plan website, punch in any of their search criteria, and every designer that's partnered with us that has a home that meets that design criteria comes up, right? There's no preferential treatment. It's all who meets the criteria the best, who has the elevation that they like the most, right? But we're handling all of that marketing to create that traffic to hopefully get in front of their designs. The other thing is, I love marketing the artists. I have a cousin who is an amazing artist. I'm actually looking at a piece of his artwork over the edge of my desk here that I just received a couple weeks ago. And he's an amazing artist, and I respect artists. In addition to what we do as far as just the house plan sales on PLIRIS Plans, all of our designers have their own landing page. So it talks about the designer. And whether that designer has one plan with us or 1,000 plans with us, they get that landing page. They get all of their connections put onto that website. If a client comes on and goes, hey, I love this designer's work, I wonder if they could customize something for me. Because every designer, every architect has their niche. They have their thing that they do great. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of one specific architect from my old hometown that you could drive around town and look at a building, and based on the architecture of the building, you knew exactly who designed that. You knew exactly who it was because his niche was that style. And everybody knew that if you wanted that style, that was who you went to. That was just, he built an amazing company doing that style great. And that style has been popular for a few decades now. And everybody just goes to him, right? So it's that way with home designers as well, where they have specific things that they do great, designs that they do great. There's designers that specialize in ICF. There's designers that specialize in SIP. There's designers that specialize in farmhouse style frontage. There's all different designers that have their own specialty that they just do really well. And that's where we also get to market that at is, whether you guys buy the plans through PLIRIS Plans, don't really care. We're here to try and market the small guy and the big guy. And the biggest thing that we do amazingly well is the completion services. We will make sure that home is to code. We will make sure that home is engineered to your site design requirements. We will make sure that when it's done, you are ready to submit for permits. And I hate plan review letters. I am not a fan of plan review letters. He said we did almost 2,000 doors last year. I think we maybe had 10 to a dozen plan review letters. That's insane percentages, right? Yeah. We try and have everything complete, correct, and ready to go right out the door.
A couple of things I can echo that. The last two builders that I worked for, once we started doing vertical and lateral engineering and moving away from either combining architecturals with structurals and having one drawing and having mistakes in that, or having architects do the sizing, let's say the vertical. Some of that really created 100 plan letters a month, let's say, out of 100 plan submittals, right?
Right.
So once we started doing the full packages and the structural drawings and all of that, that basically went almost to zero. So it was a huge win there. And then I want to key off something else you said, which I think is really important, which is I think we were talking about this before the podcast, is both Royal and I are really passionate about the home building industry and what we're doing with PLIRIS. And so bringing on those designers that are either just cutting their teeth and getting out there and they have a very small library, or they only do the one style, like what Royal said. We want those people to come in and market through us and be part of our group. And we want to market those plans. And that's one of the things that we're passionate about, is kind of bringing people up with us, because there's a lot of space in the economy and in the world of plan creation. And so we think there's space enough for everyone. And so we want to bring those people up with us and be part of that. And I think that gets missed in business. Sometimes people can be cutthroat and it can be really difficult. And we're just not going that direction. We're assuming a more holistic approach of wanting to bring people up with us and raise people up. And we're hoping they'll do the same with us. And that's kind of our culture and the way we look at it. And so if you're a designer out there, we are currently recruiting to put you into our site, to give you that landing page, to give you that marketing, to give you that exposure. So that's exciting for the relaunch. So
it is. It's something I'm really excited about. It's a great step in the right direction. And we already have probably one of the largest and most reputable independent home design companies already contracted with us, set to go on that new stage with us. And it's great to see them. So, and I mean, they're family owned. Give you an idea. So the history, this is a plug for Mascord, but also plug for us. So the founder of Mascord worked with my grandfather. So the founder of Mascord, Alan Mascord, licensed architect. My grandfather was his main go-to one of his main go-to engineers in the Northwest. So it was really interesting when we first launched the idea of PLIRIS Plans. We threw it out there to tons of designers, and I had a meeting. Mascord was one of the few that returned our phone call, returned our email, and Alan had no idea who I was. Alan actually wasn't even the person that I emailed. He was somebody else. And then in the video call, we're having a conversation and the call is getting to an end. And he goes, "Oh, well, Royal, what's your last name?" And I told him, and he was like, "Any relation to Emil?" And I was like, "Well, that's my grandfather." And he was like, "I worked with Emil for decades. Like he did when I was starting out, he was our go-to engineer." So, starting out in the late 60s, early 70s, he was the go-to engineer for residential. And so it was just kind of cool how that's come full circle. But, this is when you partner with PLIRIS and PLIRIS Plans, like exactly what it is. It's a partnership. Yeah. We're investing in you guys, our designers, a lot, right? Because we're putting the websites together. We're putting the marketing together. We're talking about the designs. We're doing these things in hopes, right? In hopes that we get work, right? In hopes that the plans sell. And it's no cost to the designer to get them on our website. So
yeah, we can grow together.
Yeah. So that's the value with it. So, and there are a lot of other house plan sites out there. None of them offer a complete out the door package. None of them are vertically integrated. You're always going to be working with other people other than the original designer, the original company. If you go through and if they have any kind of engineering or completion services, you're going to be, again, the octopus tentacles. These people do this and these people do that and those people do that. And it's just become a holistic focus of our team to provide these things.
Yeah, I think, and the modifications, you hit on that, right? The modifications go back to the designer as well. So they're going to be calling on the designer, or you, meaning the designer that's with us. That's who's going to be executing on those. So we refer them back to the designer for changes.
Right. Yeah. We call it the first right of refusal. So the original designer gets first right of refusal for any architectural changes. So, because that is a good amount of business for them, and we don't want to take that away from them. So, and just so people are also clear, a lot of those house plan websites, it's all the same company, just a different website name. And so you're going to go on, when they say, "We promise that you won't find this plan for less." Well, it's because they own the rights to that plan, and it's only marketed on their websites. So, that is the situation. They've really almost monopolized it and done a lot to, they help some designers, but they definitely, you get lost in the crowd and lost in the volume of everything with a lot of these smaller designers. So, which is really what we're trying to help out.
Yeah. And we're going to have, I think there's at least 12 different styles or categories, if you will, collections that have different styles within them. And so we have a really diverse palette of plans that are going to be coming out. If you look today, there's 58 plans on there. We're gonna launch roughly over 1,000 when we bring the new plan book in, and then it should top out somewhere around 1,800. But that's including walkouts and daylight basements that can be added to existing plans. Right. But it'll be a significant content increase to cover anything that somebody might need in any style. So pretty excited.
Yeah, we're excited about it. It's going to be, it's a huge thing for a lot of people. I mean, and again, we're part of some private Facebook groups that focus on residential design, and this is everybody in those groups. I hope to start seeing their plans on our website because it's great for them. It's passive, right? We're marketing on their behalf.
No.
They're not having to go out there trying to seek out the work, trying to go to job sites and work with clients. It's literally just the stuff's coming in. And this is finding an existing plan that's like what you like. How do I explain that? Finding an existing design that is similar to what you like and making modifications from that to that with the original designer is probably one of the most cost-effective ways to get to a final home design. And then for them to have a partner that's familiar with the codes, familiar with the design requirements, familiar with everything in those areas, that is also very attuned to streamlining everything, cost effectiveness of the engineering, of the constructability. It makes everything go very smoothly.
Yeah. So if you're out there looking for a house and you want to be efficient, or have a site and you're looking for something to build, try and find that plan that's closest as possible, and then work from there, because the back of the napkin sketch with the charrettes and all of that takes a long time and a lot of money, but it can be done. But finding that plan that's similar and just augmenting that is the easiest.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, hey, if you're interested in marketing on our upcoming website, do feel free to message us. You can message support@PLIRISPlans.com. That'll get you to us. You can call our toll-free number, 833-4PLIRIS. You can DM us on any of the socials. Those are monitored. Yeah, and we can start sending you information. You can also direct message us through any of our websites. We have a contact form on all of our websites. But we're excited to get more plans going and more designers marketed on our website to help you guys out.
Look for the launch in the next couple weeks, and we'll be putting more content out about that. So stay tuned.
Great. All right. Well, do you have anything else, John?
I thanks Royal again for having me on the pod, and or on the cast, however you want to put it. And it's always fun, or maybe you call it a podcast. I don't know. But
I don't know how you abbreviate that one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But no, it's always fun, and I'm looking forward to getting this website launched and getting things going. It's been a lot of work for the group over the last probably 2 quarters. It's taken daily meetings with the web developer and the marketing manager and the social media manager and all these people to pull all this stuff together. And we're at the finish line. You got the contracts done. Things are good. So we're right there. So stay tuned, folks. We're going to launch something big here shortly, and I'm about it.
So am I.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Well, if you enjoyed the show, please feel free to like, subscribe. We always appreciate if you can share our information with others that this may be of benefit to. If you'd like to get a hold of us, feel free to message us on any of our platforms. And otherwise, have a great day. Bye.